I'm Gary Hess, News Radio WRVA, the voice of Virginia.
Coffee's hot and 995's humming, short pumps moving, and the rush is coming. Grab your keys, hit the road, let's ride. Rich has the news for the drive outside. Wake up with Rich and win the day. Don't spend your morning playing catch up. WRVA and the city's alive. 7 a.m. It's go time, Richmond.
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's the voice of Virginia News Radio WRVA. My name is Rich Herrera. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so we've been talking about this all morning long. The state budget that was put together at the very last moment, finally approved with the day to go. Somehow, some way, in the first time in the history of this Commonwealth, included language and bills that they didn't get passed during the General Assembly. They shoved them into this budget at the last minute. And some of these have got devastating effects. And I talked about this, that I go to Capitol Square and I watch the delegates and I watch the Senate and I watch the governor and they just go yada, yada, yada. And then they go home. But there are people that actually live with the consequences of their decisions and their votes. And there's a whole group of people here in the Commonwealth of Virginia that rely on CBD oil for their children that have severe epilepsy. It's called Dravet syndrome. And again, full disclosure, I worked for Charlotte's Web CBD in their sports marketing department for a year once it became approved and encouraged by Major League Baseball for players to use CBD oil, CBD for the players. So I got to know a lot about this. I got to know Paige Figge, the woman who really was responsible for bringing CBD oil to the United States. And I worked extensively with that. So when I saw the story by Tyler Englander over the weekend, I'm like, my gosh, what in the world were they thinking? In the last budget where we'll have the retail marijuana stores that'll be stood up a year from now, they repealed a lot of the existing laws that we have in the state when it comes to cannabis, but the new ones don't take place until next year. So there's a whole ambiguity of what's going on. Well, I've also found out that there was a carve out for CBD oil that's used for people with severe epilepsy, and that's now gone. So Lisa Smith has a 25-year-old daughter named Haley, who, as I described what it was like for little Charlotte, seizing up all day, non-ambulatory, couldn't talk, didn't know she had a personality, didn't know anything going on. It was a horrible way to live. She had do not resuscitate order after do not resuscitate order. The doctors finally looked at her mom and said, "Take your daughter home. I hope she dies soon. There's nothing we could do for her." Heartbreaking. CBD oil helped bring this little girl out from this horrific life she had and gave her an opportunity to be a real person. Lisa Smith is a mom here in Virginia that her daughter faces that same disease, and she's joining us right now on News Radio WRVA. Lisa, good morning.
Good morning, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay. Tell us a little bit about Haley and what her life was like.
Well, Haley started having seizures when she was only 5 months old, and her first one lasted over 25 minutes, only stopped by IV Ativan, and we were told it was all due to a febrile seizure, just due to a fever, due to an ear infection. Again, that repeated a couple months later, and it was 45 minutes long. And to make it short, we went unknowing until she was 7 years old, that and just multiple seizures. She didn't have any pharmaceuticals until after she was 2 years old. And then we were bombarded like 13, 14 different pharmaceuticals. At the age of 7, she was finally diagnosed with Dravet syndrome. And that gave us some peace because we knew what we were dealing with, but it is not treatable. There was no medications for it. Everything we were using was off-label. And then going forward, every year her seizures increased. The first year that she had seizures, she only had 6, and we were devastated. By the time she turned 13, she was having well over 1,000 seizures a year. She just basically slept, ate, and seized, and that was all she did. She couldn't go to school. We had school at home. And in 2012, we saw Paige's program, a weed with Sanjay Gupta. And I thought, no, that's not really for us. We're not that bad off. We're only having 300 seizures a year, but then they spiked due to puberty. And in 2014 and 15, we got together with a group of parents and said, let's change the law in Virginia following Paige's lead. And I had met her online in 2009. So we had known each other for a while before we started. And we went to the General Assembly in 2015. The Senate Committee on Health and Education heard our bill, and in the middle of our bill, Haley had a huge seizure in the middle of it. And I think it opened a lot of legislators' eyes, many that had said, I'm not going to vote for this because it has marijuana in it. And it turned out at the end of that session, we had passed the bill almost unanimously, 1 abstention and 1 nay. And I think overall, the whole body felt so good about what they did. And then the next year we came back and they couldn't believe that Haley could actually walk. And like you said, had a personality. And immediately we saw it when we started the CBD, that her seizures reduced by 40% that first year. And instead of having 1,000 seizures a year, we're down to 2 to 4 a month. So under 50 a year, which is amazing.
So I'll extend this out. 2018, Donald Trump in his first administration signs the
Yeah.
2018 Farm Bill that actually the law removed hemp and hemp-derived compounds such as CBD from the Federal Controlled Substances Act, saying that CBD was legal. Now, again, CBD, so hemp has a lot of CBD, very little THC. Right. Marijuana, the complete opposite, a lot of THC, very little CBD. Now, the oil that she takes, your daughter takes to fight off these seizures, has a high, super high amount of CBD. And with that, because there is some residual THC in there, it doesn't get her high. It's not an intoxicant. Mm-hmm. We're not going to go smoke it out of a bong. This is CBD oil that helps your daughter fight off these seizures.
Yeah, and I appreciate the education to everyone, because everyone who thinks that she's doing something, that thinks that she's smoking it, it's just a tincture and it's given to her and orally.
Under her tongue.
Yeah, under her tongue. And the Farm Bill helped out tremendously because, as you know, the Virginia dispensaries did not get up and running until 2020, and we were able to access it. And by then, when we added the CBD to her protocol, her regimen of medications, she already was on 3 and then up to 4 medications. The CBD intensified the effect of all of her other pharmaceuticals. And I think this is what the legislators and people don't understand. As we added the CBD in, her other medications got toxic, so we had to lower them down. Then we upped the CBD, lowered down her pharmaceuticals till we got to a good therapeutic dose of CBD. So all of her other medications are hanging on this particular strand of hemp oil. And if that goes away, it's not apples to apples because no two plants are alike. All of her other medications are going to plummet, which will cause a seizure emergency for sure.
Now, how did you find out that this got pushed through in our budget?
Ironically, I was just doom scrolling through my email, saw an email from the Hemp Roundtable, and I normally will just delete. I decided, let me open it, what's going on in Virginia, and I read it there. And it was the Wednesday before they voted. And I immediately sent off the emails that they supply with that email that you go to your legislators. And then I contacted the people I knew personally. I reached out to our former governor, Dr. Northam, who was Haley's first neurologist, and tried to get help that way. And then I went to the media because that's the only way I know to get attention to something like this. And when the legislators don't understand and don't listen, I mean, mine do. Mine know me, and they've been wonderful.
What's the response been back? Have you heard from any legislator? Because I do know that area has made a response back to 8 News.
Yeah, and what they tell me, well, my legislators know my situation, and they're working hard for me. Hillary Pugh Kent and Richard Stewart and also Ryan McDougall have all been wonderful to help me. They know our situation well. Those on the other side of the aisle don't understand, and they think, well, you could just go to the dispensary and get it. And we've been friends with a couple of the dispensaries, and they've never produced her CBD oil on a regular basis. And since this is she is very medically fragile. She is very sensitive to medications. Even with her pharmaceuticals, she has to take the name brand. If she goes to the off-label brands, she has seizures. So we need to stay with what we know, and it's very hard to treat her seizures and her syndrome. And so it's like we can't run the risk of having a different strain every time we go to a dispensary, which has never.
No, let me jump in here with you. And here's one of the reasons.
Sure.
Again, when I got to know this and Major League Baseball adopted this for players to use, there are no rules when it comes to CBD, and you don't know how much you're getting. It's not FDA regulated. You can go in there and get a little bit, get a lot. It's just the Wild West out there. So that's why this that you have, and the ones that the Major League Baseball players have the certification, and it's a specific, and you know exactly what you're getting. All right, I've got a minute here. We're here in Richmond. Talk to the governor. Talk to Governor Spanberger, who signed this bill, who took something that was legal federally, and you had fought to make it legal in the Commonwealth, and they wiped it out with this bill. What do you want the governor to do? What do you want the governor to know?
I would want to know why she scratched it out, but I would say we need to keep that 25-to-1 ratio. And if you're concerned about intoxicity of products, of people doing something through a quote unquote loophole, then put a cap on the THC per serving. Because what they've done is put THC per package with no definition of what package is. And then knock it down even further, say no inhaled substances and no marketing to children, and then enforce what you've put out there with stiff penalties to keep people from doing it. Because what we're taking is not intoxicating, and we should not have to suffer because there's people out there jumping through that loophole and trying to create an intoxicating substance. And I think it's very ironic that in a bill that opens a retail marijuana market, we're concerned about the intoxicating effects of CBD.
How ironic is it that we're going to legalize THC for the entire Commonwealth with 200 pot shops that will get where anybody can go get any marijuana they want, but they've taken away the ability for your daughter to use CBD oil, which is not to get high, which is not to get her stoned, but to save her from having this gruesome life. And I'm sorry, I'm going to put it to you that way. I've seen it, a gruesome life of nothing but seizures. And that's now been taken away. So the Democrats could get their retail marijuana shops up and running in 2027. To me, it's absolutely heartbreaking, disgusting. And somebody needs to step up and ask the governor and the General Assembly to fix this and fix it now.
I agree. We did meet with the governor's policy director on Thursday and open their eyes a little bit to make them understand what's going on. And I felt like it was received well. I don't know what will happen. From what I understand, our General Assembly is still in special session. They never adjourned. So there could be a window of hope, but they keep dismissing it like, well, Ms. Smith, you can just go to a dispensary.
That doesn't work.
Because by law, they have to make medicine for Haley. I'm like, yeah, but they don't. And I at this point, I don't trust them. And I can't undo what she has right now. It's going to affect every other medication she's on. And it's devastating if she loses it, because it will be seizure emergency, hospitalization, induced coma, or possibly planning a funeral. And that's not being hyperbolic.
What goes on in the General Assembly has real life consequences for the people of this Commonwealth. Lisa, I'm going to stay on top of this. We're going to be reaching out to the governor's office. We'll be reaching out to local lawmakers. Tom Garrett's coming on tomorrow. We'll talk to him. He was big on that when he was in the Senate. We're not letting this go, and we'll stay on top of the story. Thank you for sharing Haley's story with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate you putting it out there. Well, Tom, hello. Okay.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Lisa White.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you. Lisa White joining us here on News Radio WRVA. You want to comment? 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. Dave, I'm going to take a little break. We'll come back. It's News Radio WRVA. Actually, never mind. I'm just going to stay right here with you. Let me tell you about Lester by Adolf. So my friend Robin, Daniel, Georgia, Annette, these are very special people. These are very special people that go out of their way to bring smiles to people's faces. Why? Because when you buy someone a piece of jewelry, it's a way of showing them what you think about them, how much you respect them. how much you love them. That's what I dig about going in there when you see somebody getting an engagement ring or something very special for someone they care about, or even better, when they come back afterwards, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you helped them find these earrings or this chain or this. It's really cool. And so if you're looking to make a really nice purchase, maybe just a little purchase, they have something for every budget. But I'll remind everybody, you want to level it up? If you've got old chains, old jewelry, old precious gemstones that are just sitting there in your jewelry box, you can bring those in. They'll buy them on the spot. You can use that money to level up your purchase. Go by and say hi. They're located in the Ridge Shopping Center, Paramaquiacasin, or find them online at haveluster.com.
It's a great time to upgrade your garage door with Apple Door Systems,
I'm sorry,
Virginia's
what?
top-ranked residential garage door dealer. Right now, save up to $400 on select AMAR
Oh,
garage
I was
doors
on the
for
phone,
a limited
sorry.
time. For over 50 years, Apple Door has helped Virginia homeowners with garage door repair and installation. With more than 2,500 five-star reviews, Apple Door is the name homeowners trust. Book your free estimate today at appledoor.com and save up to $400. Offer ends July 31st. Restrictions apply.
Are you a caregiver for a family member? Comfort Keepers provides companionship, personal care, meal preparation, and other services that help people live full, independent, and dignified lives within the comfort of their own homes. Call Comfort Keepers at 804-750-1123.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and the total amount